guys, it's Jana Eubank. I'm back again with another scrapbook process video, and today I'm working on a 2-page layout featuring the Noel Mignon November 2016 All Fall Kits. So I pulled a couple of American Crafts craft cardstock to use as the base of this 2-page layout, and then pretty much everything else is coming from the November kits. I first placed my photos down, and since they were in 2 rows, I decided to break them up a little bit with some pattern paper strips going down the middle. I chose to use this chevron, this green chevron by Simple Stories, and then I'm layering some orange cardstock and that burlap ribbon on top, just kind of for some depth and interest. I chose to use the 4x6 Cartabella Autumn journaling card on the bottom, and then I put a couple of tree stickers from the Pebbles Woodland Forest sticker sheet in the top left corner. Now that sticker sheet has tons of cute little woodland critters, but I actually decided to pull in this bear and this fox that were part of the Echo Park paper Falls in the Air 3x4 cut apart sheet. I love those little critters, and they were calling my name and they were the right scale, so I decided to just trim them out with my scissors and use them on the page. Right now I'm flipping through some other papers and deciding what to layer up behind my photos on the top and bottom of the page. So I'm pulling some browns and oranges, and I decided to go with this houndstooth paper from the Pebbles Warm and Cozy collection. I cut 2 5-inch strips, and now I'm just getting my photos ready to glue down. So if I'm not using a photo mat, I like to, and sometimes when I do use a photo mat, I do this too, but I like to sand the edges of my photo, and it just gives it a little bit of a white edge and just defines the picture a little bit. I'm sure that drives some of you crazy, but I like the look of it, and so that's what I do. This burlap ribbon is so cute. It actually comes from the October 2016 kits from Noel, and I think that's the only thing I used on this page outside of the November kits, but it works so perfectly here, and that cute little stitch line down the center just is so fall, so it's going on this page. I layered it on top of some orange cardstock just to give it some more interest and some more color, and to make it pop a little bit more. And then I'm just using some washi tape from the kit to secure the ends on the back side before I stick the strips down to my page. Before I stick that strip down, I decide to go ahead and get all the other photos sanded before I forget, so that way they all match each other. So here I'm just eyeballing those brown strips, but later I can't get the top and bottom margins quite right, so I actually end up pulling everything back up and straightening it using my Imaginist graph ruler. You'll see that in a little while. I chose to put this acorn paper on the top. This is also from the Cartabella Autumn collection. It's so cute, but it's a little busier. And so I decided that the photos that were going to be on that paper needed to be matted. So I pulled some brown cardstock from my stash to put those photos onto. At first I thought the photos were going to be completely above the middle ribbon strip, but I wanted to overlap them onto the strip a little bit to just anchor them. And so this is where I decide to kind of squeeze everything together, because here I try it and there's too much of that orange acorn paper showing, and so I pull out my ruler and get it all matched up and even. So I think I did 7/8 of a border on top, and 7/8 on the bottom. And then I'm just using the acorn pattern to line up that center strip. I recently found these craft knives by American Crafts at Tuesday Morning. They were only $2, and I decided to grab one and try it. I wasn't sure how great it would be, but it actually cuts really well. So I think I'll pick up a few more. And it works great with my Perfect Layers rulers. That's what I'm using to do the mats around the edges of the top photos, and I'm just giving them a 1/8 inch mat. The photo paper I use is really thin, and so sometimes I have to pull up the edges of the photo so that the ruler can bump up against that and give me a little bit of a grip to do those Perfect Layers mats. And now I'm just fixing the left side of the page to match the margins that I put on the right side. I'm using some thin foam squares to lift up the critters a little bit, give it some dimension. And then I decide to cut out these leaves from the vellum sheet that was included in the kit. So this is an 8x8 vellum sheet that is by Pretty Little Studio, designed by Ashley Horton. It's called Oakley Avenue. And I cut out those leaves and just scattered them at the feet of the bear and at the feet of the fox. Kind of give them make a little scene for each one of them to live in. I think they're so cute. I'm just using my dot adhesive to put down the vellum leaves, and it does show through a little bit, but I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me. I do have like a Xyron 150 little sticker maker that would have worked too, and then it would have had adhesive evenly on the back and you wouldn't have seen it, but I didn't think to use that or grab it and just went with what was close. So working with visual triangles, I decided to add a third critter, and I pulled in this little hedgehog from the Simple Stories Hello Fall chipboard sheet that's in one of the kits. I'm not sure which one. And then I just cut out a few more leaves to add up by him, so the 3 clusters go together. At this point, I'm thinking I'm going to do the title Fall Drive. So I used the bottom edge of the cardstock and some wax paper to put the word drive. And that's just a little trick I learned from Crafty Jen Scow. That way you can move your sticker around the page and kind of decide what you want to do before you actually stick it onto the page. When I went into my Silhouette studio, I typed in the search box the word fall, and several things came up, and so I decided to go ahead and cut out a few options, and here I'm just trying them and deciding what I want to do. So I did this falling leaves, thinking I would do a layered one. I did fall, and then I also did that happy fall banner, but I decided to just do the word fall. I don't even do the word drive with it. So I go back and cut out the other layer to this cut file. I want to say that cut file's by Lonnie Stevens. Hopefully I'm remembering that right. I'll put it on my blog so you can double check that if you're curious. I decided that I wanted to emboss the brown layer of the title, so here I'm just flipping through my little card library I made of my embossing folders to kind of look and see. So I choose this one by Doris, this wood grain pattern, and I go ahead and emboss that. And then I come back in and adhere the white layer on top of the brown layer. And this is another thing I learned from Crafty Jen Scow. She uses a fine line bottle that you just buy empty online, and then you fill it with whatever adhesive you'd like. And in mine, I am using Scotch Quick Dry Glue. I love that glue. I use it for almost everything. It's great for 3D projects. It's just really good. Fine little details. I love it. So I'm adding some thin foam squares to the back of the title to lift that up as well. And then I adhered some leaves to the right of that to just connect it to everything else. So at this point, I want to add some more embellishment clusters, and I'm thinking about pulling in some word phrases. So these cute little cut aparts are from the Oakley Avenue collection by Ashley Horton, and that is for a Pretty Little Studio. So in the kit we got some cut aparts, some acrylics, some stickers, that vellum leaf sheet, and a few more things I think from that collection. So I'm using the scripty words. I'm trying those out by the Hedgehog. And I wasn't sure if I was going to stack 2 of them, but I decided to just use one of them and then use this family banner flag from the Echo Park brad sheet. I do change out the brad for a larger brad, just so it has a little more presence. Sorry, my voice is getting kind of crackly. I don't know why. It must be the end of the day or something. So I put this little wood piece on the left, and because I put a brad over on the right by the Hedgehog, I decided I need to put some brads over here by the bear. So I stick one through the center of the wood piece, and then I stick a couple other below, just kind of in a little cluster. I add this red gem, and then I put a red gem over here by the Hedgehog. But looking at it, I decide that the red gem on the left by the bear is too big. So I pull him off. I pull that gem out, and I decide I want it down by the fox, but now I need to cover the hole that I made over by the bear. So I pull out this little red acrylic heart from the Pretty Little Studio pack and adhere that over the hole, and then I move the red gem over by the fox. So I'm liking the way those clusters look, but I still want a few more spots of embellishment. So I'm thinking of adding something to the top of the family photo on the top row, and also the family photo on the bottom row, just so you kind of have a zigzag of embellishments. I like the way those 2 cut apart strips look there on the bottom left. And I'm thinking I'm going to put a flare or that apple paper clip, and then I try out another piece of flare on the top right page. I love the blue color of the one on the right page, and decide to match that and pull in this blue die cut flower from the Echo Park decorative brads. And that will just tie the blue across both pages. The brad that was on that flower was a different one. I switched it out for the orange one just so it had a bit more color. And here I'm just looking for something to put on that top. I cut out that one that said feeling foxy, but thought that was kind of strange for my family. So I went and looked at this Echo Park Alpha sheet and found a little yellow piece that said family, which was perfect because it is my family. I added it to some brown cardstock just so it would pop a little bit more, and that was perfect. decided to adhere all of that down. I'm putting a foam mat below my layouts so I can poke my scissors through the page to create a hole for the brads, if you're wondering what that is. The flare I just stick on with some glue dots, and then there I am doing another brad. At this point, I'm feeling like the page is pretty much done, so I flip it over to cover the brads with some tape so that the sheets can slide in and out of my sheet protectors. Hi guys, I'm back with one final closing shot. My battery ran out when I was putting the tape on the back of the layout, and I did add a few more little details that I thought I would just explain to you really quick. I decided to add a few more of those vellum leaves in spots around the layout just to fill things out a little bit and to help anchor things and connect things better. So I did add some here. I think I may have added this one, and that just gives a nice connecting line and anchors the photo in the journaling spot. Same thing here, I added these two, and that just kind of connects over to this layout and doesn't, and then I added one behind the hedgehog to just make it feel a little more full. And then I also added a couple over here by the bear. Now his eyes are kind of looking down diagonally, and I had this empty space right here by the tree, so I decided to fill that in a little bit. I pulled in another one of these script words from the Ashley Horton sticker sheet to tie in with this one. And then I also added the little scribble hearts from the same sticker sheet. And then I sprinkled those in a couple of the other clusters to just connect things visually to each other. Finally, I also decided, or actually not decided, but realized that I didn't have the date on my layout. So I created this tab right here using a scrap of yellow cardstock from the kit, and then this die by the Clearly Kelly stamp set. So I don't know where I put the stamps, right here. So it comes with these stamps, and then it came with these two dies, and I used the smaller one here. And then to add the date to the stamp, I used this date stamp set from the Target dollar spot that I purchased probably back in January or February of 2016. So they're not available anymore. I'm so sorry, but the font is really cute, and maybe you ended up picking them up yourself if your Target had them at that time. So I thought it was worth showing to you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed watching this page come together. There will be some close-up shots following this, and they are also located on my blog at www.janaubank.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a happy Thanksgiving, or if you're not in the US, just have a great week, and I hope to see you again soon.